This story with Shohei Ohtani is absolutely unbelievable, Larry. And we do have lying on the record. There's no doubt about that. When you have two stories that are this different, we have somebody lying for sure. And I love Shohei Ohtani. I think he's the most spectacular baseball player in the history of the sport of baseball. I don't want to dislike Shohei Ohtani. I am not anti-Ohtani because he now wears a Dodger uniform. I want nothing but unicorns and rainbows for that guy. So to have him,
why do you love?
He's incredible. He's incredible. He's got a skill set that's never existed in a human being, but for maybe one of them. And believe me, the stories of Babe Ruth are much more stories than they are fact. We're watching Shohei Ohtani throw sliders with 18-inch break and lead the league in home runs at the same time. He's a guy who can lead the league in home runs or win a Cy Young. With all due respect to Willie Mays and all the greats and well-rounded players, there's nobody who's ever been as tooled up as this guy in the history of the sport. He is in a photo of one, a class photo of one, and maybe Babe Ruth is in this photo, but Babe Ruth never even played against a black player. Babe Ruth never saw 18 inches of break on nothing. So, it's Shohei Ohtani is here. Everyone in the history of baseball is underneath him in terms of talent. That's in my mind. You have a different opinion, you go right ahead, you have your opinion. But I am here to tell you he's the single greatest baseball player ever born based on what he's done and accomplished at the major league level. So I think he's just fascinating. Plus, you hear everything about him, which until 48 hours ago was just pristine and lovely and beautiful. And he's a charmer and he's smiling and his teammates love him and his interpreter is a great guy too. And everything about the package is something that I really, really liked. And now I'm telling you with absolutely no confusion, Shohei Ohtani needs to be indefinitely suspended by Major League Baseball until they have the answers to the questions that they're not even really probing right now. If this were Mike Yastrzemski, Larry, what if I told you Mike Yastrzemski just paid off a $4.5 million debt? Like, I'm not even going to use the word gambling yet. I'm just going to tell you, Mike Yastrzemski has paid off a $4.5 million debt for a buddy of his. Wouldn't that make you, on just that alone, go, well, wait a minute. We need to see what the hell's going on there. Is Major League Baseball trying to take Shohei Ohtani's word on this? Like, dude, there are conflicting stories from his interpreter about how this whole thing went down. And then it feels like Team Ohtani realized that left Ohtani way too exposed. And then they let him twist in the wind and they said, this guy's a liar and I'm a victim of fraud and theft. And I'm just going to tell you this right now, dude. You and I were just in Las Vegas together. In the history of gambling, have you ever known anyone who came into the gambling equation only to pay the debt? That's it. I wasn't involved in any of this. I didn't know of anything. I wasn't talking to my best friend who was placing $4.5 million of bad bets over the course of 3 years. We didn't talk about it once. We're inseparable. We're best of friends. But we didn't talk about it once. I only arrived at the portion of the gambling equation that was the payment. And here's the deal. The guy who pays is the gambler, folks. That's it. Shohei Ohtani might not have been involved in this, but then he got involved in it the minute he cut those checks. He needs to be suspended indefinitely, Larry, right now. And there needs to be an investigation that could take the entire year, certainly to the All-Star break. And that's just, that sucks for baseball. And I don't think baseball's going to do it. I think baseball sees Ohtani as an economy unto himself, and they don't want to ruffle that feather. I think baseball is too chicken shit to come down on Ohtani like they would have, had this been Barry Bonds, he'd already be in handcuffs.
Well, here's the thing. Okay. There has to be an investigation, but it has to be independent of baseball. It can't be a baseball-led investigation. You can't have the people who own Disneyland investigating Mickey Mouse. It's got to be somebody else. I mean, give you an example.
Well, the FBI will be involved. Because this is an illegal bookmaking thing in Southern California. And on that alone,
MLB cannot lead the investigation. That's the point.
No, but they have to
MLB cannot lead the investigation.
But they're not even conducting one yet, Larry.
I know. Well, not only that, I mean, go to MLB Trade Rumors, which is one of the biggest baseball sites there is. They list all the top stories in the margin on the right. The top story this morning, Mets to sign J.D. Martinez. Number 2, Rangers to sign Michael Lorenzen. Number 3, Ohtani's interpreter fired, accused of theft and illegal gambling. Number 4, Yankees Jordan Montgomery have reopened discussions. Well, then you go into the body of their stories. They've got the top, all the stories there except for the Ohtani story. The Ohtani story you have to click on to get to. What does that tell you? They're trying to bury the Ohtani story.
Oh, they want this
MLB Trade Rumors. We're talking about just a website they're trying to bury it. So if they're trying to bury it, MLB is trying to bury it. There's a lot here. I don't believe, and nobody should, the two stories. One of those stories is total fabrication. The Dodgers fired Ippei Mizuhara on Wednesday evening, who was working as Ohtani's personal interpreter, and they've been friends dating back to well before he signed with the Angels in 2017. He can't say, "Oh, you know what? Some guy that I didn't know duped me." No. You know this guy well.
Right, and they can't claim like cultural ignorance, like we're from Japan, we just got here. Mitsuhara has been in the United States for a quarter century. Right. They know the rules. They know what they were. Somebody is gambling.
It was first reported.
And then at the end of that, Ohtani paid. So whether he was gambling or not, the guy who paid is the gambler. That's how it works, folks.
Well, and he's got obviously the money.
Exactly.
Who knows?
What interpreter is getting a $4.5 million line of credit from an illegal Southern California bookmaker? So
why would a player pay a penny of that? Why would a player pay a penny of that when he knows the obvious optics? The optics are terrible. So the LA Times first reported the news, and there's a probe going on into an alleged illegal gambling operation in Southern California. The attorneys for Ohtani told the LA Times that Ohtani had been the victim of a massive theft. For those of you who are not following this story, he had been a victim of a massive theft. And it didn't say who had actually committed the theft, but the implication was that his interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara, did so. So, then ESPN's Tisha Thompson reported that upwards of $4.5 million had been wired from a bank account in Ohtani's name to the alleged gambling ring. So, it's just this. I agree. There has to be an investigation. It has to be a credible investigation. It can't be, the NFL is investigating Patrick Mahomes. It's like, well, what incentive do they have to bury the Super Bowl winning quarterback?
As a matter of fact, they have zero incentive. They have incentive to clear him. And so does Major League Baseball. And let's face it, Ohtani is worth by himself what franchises used to be worth. He's the $700 million man, and his global reach is worth 10 times that to Major League Baseball. So this is a flame that they do not want to extinguish, of course, but they have to. They have to. And this is where we get to officially call Rob Manfred an absolute chicken shit and it disqualified for the job of Major League Commissioner if he's not, enough of a sheriff to walk into the saloon and say, whoa, we got a problem here, boys. We got to step outside and figure this one out before anybody goes about their business. This is a massive scandal, and it was made so by Team Ohtani itself when they sent Ippei Mizuhara into an interview that then they immediately disavowed and changed their story on. It went from Ohtani paid himself specifically himself, like typed in the word loan, hit send himself on any wire transfer to Ohtani has been, what did he rob from himself?
Yeah,
and
I mean,
his boy
and for
didn't
people
$4.5
who don't
billion
know
from
the
him.
rule, people don't know the rules. MLB players, MLB employees are prohibited from placing bets on baseball. They are allowed to place bets on other sports, but they can't place bets on baseball. I mean, there has to be a huge investigation here. It all points to Ohtani having the gambling problem. He's the guy who's cut the check. He's the guy with the big bucks. And here's the problem, and we saw it during the Super Bowl. There were no NFL players, in the casinos. The Niners and Chiefs stayed way, way away. As for no active players for the game in the Super Bowl were in Vegas, so they carried it out. But as soon as the game ended, where did 10% of the players head to the casino to gamble? So, I mean, they're people. They like to gamble like anybody else.
And here's the thing. I don't have a problem with guys gambling on sports they're not involved in. And I don't have a problem with guys playing blackjack or, roulette or craps or whatever. But the problem is, and this is where the proliferation of gambling is just being all kinds of normal now, is going to confuse the matter very, very much. It's not you winning that anyone is worried about. It's you losing. And it's now you being open.
Oh, it's being compromised.
Being exposed. Exactly, Larry. It's you are in how much debt? Well, now you can be compromised. You may now be led into a decision that you would have never made until you dug a hole like this for yourself. $4.5 million for Ohtani is not a lot of money. It really isn't. But it's still an exposure that he has found himself in. And I just think there needs to be answers, and he can't take another swing for the Dodgers until we have these answers. Ken Rosenthal in The Athletic wrote about this, Larry, saying, after offering contradictory accounts to ESPN early in the week, Matsuhara has not responded to requests for comments. Neither has Nez Ballo, who is Ohtani's longtime representative from Creative CAA. Dodgers president Stan Kasdan and president of baseball operations Andrew Friedman are not taking questions. MLB officials have declined to weigh in other than to indicate that Ohtani is not currently subject to discipline from the league.
There's a parade of people at his locker every day, and they're not getting answers. They're just basically they're being nervously shuttled around. They can only play that game for 2-3 days. Eventually they're going to have to address this head on. And this Mitsuhara has told sources that Ohtani doesn't gamble, that the wire transfers covered losses which the interpreter said he racked up alone.
Let me ask you, do we have any evidence Shohei Ohtani's a big soccer fan? Is he a big soccer fan?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But if he's a card carrying, I'm a big soccer fan, and most of these wagers are coming on soccer games, that he's now going to deny, I've got nothing to do with them, but my very best, most confidant, personal friend is all over gambling on these games. And I never say, let me get some of that action. Again, I don't fucking care whether Ohtani or not placed the bet. He paid for the bet. Therefore, it's his. That's it.
Yeah, but this is the problem with Vegas and gambling, being, with these sports leagues embracing gambling. For example, this Matthew Boyer, the alleged bookmaker, said in a statement to ESPN that he never met or spoke with Ohtani. So what? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Ohtani could be betting massive amounts of money through Mizuhara, and it looks like that's exactly what was going on here. So, it's there is no, if I'm a professional athlete and I have millions of dollars and it's against the rules for me to bet, okay, but I have friends and they can bet and I can give them money. You know what I mean? It's such an easy end around that it's like, to think that nobody's ever done this before is probably naive.
But the truth is, money is traceable. and every wager does come with an element of a paper trail to it. And where the truth will come from is when they get into Matthew Boyer's records and they start aligning bets, bank account activity, and cell phone activity. For however bets were made with the illegal Southern California bookie, I mean, this is how they got Pete Rose. They forensically took apart the hour in which a bet was made. Call comes from this office into this office. Call from Pete Rose's phone to a phone in Las Vegas. Call from that phone goes to a book, and then that's how they got him.
The Dowd report.
Dowd report.
That you know, if you think about that though, that was a totally different time that Fay Vincent was an independent commissioner, and John Dowd conducted, I think, a largely credible investigation of Rose. And also, Pete Rose had no value. He had no value to MLB at that time. He was just a manager. He wasn't a revenue stream.
Right.
Shohei Ohtani is the biggest international revenue stream that Major League Baseball has to offer. He is the biggest name on the biggest team in one of the biggest markets. It's like they're talk about oversight. There needs to be somebody in addition to MLB who's absolutely overseeing every element of this investigation, or baseball is going to lose massive amounts of credibility if they haven't already.
I could see Major League Baseball making the internal decision to cover this up, to clean this up, protect Ohtani at all costs, even at the risk of losing credibility. Because I don't think people care about credibility anymore. Certainly not over profitability.
Oh, no. People absolutely care if these games are on the level. If baseball, basketball, football, if any of these sports are ever deemed to be wrestling, they're cooked.
Right. But here's the thing. Baseball gets to park all of this in the garage of, well, it wasn't betting on baseball. So, you know, look elsewhere. Nothing
that we know of.
Right. Exactly. That we know of. And if you're willing to tell a sequence of lies, at what point are you unwilling to lie? So I'm just saying, there's a T-Dub says Damon is salty in reaching here. No. Just because you're devoid of standards and don't know the difference between right and wrong and are willing to just live in a world of gray and black and white doesn't exist for you, it still exists on this issue for me. Gambling is the ultimate no-go, do not, can't happen thing in sports. Because like you just said, it would unravel the entire ball faster than anything else.
Well, people nobody's going to spend lots and lots of money watching pro sports if they don't think that they're watching a legitimate, honest competition. That's a big part of it. There'll still be people that will want to watch it, but it won't have the same place if it's not on the level, or if it's questionable if it's on the level.
Right. And here's the thing.
And baseball's hurting. This is the other thing about this. It's the climate that is so concerning. Baseball is in over its head. They've had their season ripped away from them. Every month of the baseball season is less important than it used to be. They start in March, they're battling the tournament. They go in April, they're battling the draft. They go in May and June, they're battling the NBA playoffs. By the time they get to July, it's NBA Summer League. When they get to mid-July to late August, now it's the NFL. Baseball is under attack, and doesn't have near the place in our minds. I mean, ESPN, go to ESPN right now and look at the sports they have listed that you can click on. None of them are baseball. You have to go hunt for baseball.
Right. You have to find them in the menu.
In the menu, you can find baseball. But if you go to the top of ESPN right now, ESPN.com, the biggest sports site in America, it says it's got their tournament play thing, the NFL, NBA, NCAA basketball, NCAA women's basketball, NHL, soccer, and then a plus where you can then go hunt down baseball. Baseball used to be right there. It was NFL, MLB, NBA. Now baseball is down. It goes NFL, NBA, the tournament for men, the tournament for women, the NHL, soccer, then MLB. And that's only because we're in the off season for college football. If college football were in season, that would be in front of MLB. So MLB is way, way down the list.
Well, and let's be honest, Larry, given another year or two, transfer portals is going to be a bigger topic than baseball. Transfer portals in basketball, transfer portals in football. That's going to be the fourth biggest sport that baseball is now finding itself behind, monitoring transfer portals. So, yeah, baseball is a little bit under attack, and baseball needs to do everything it can to defend itself. And if sacrificing Shohei Ohtani on the altar of we ain't cheating over here has to happen, it has to happen. But I don't know if Rob Manfred and those have the gumption or the balls to do that anymore. And let's be honest, Larry, these leagues now and franchise valuations are tied directly to the business relationship that all these leagues have with gambling houses now. And this is just, it's, dude, Pandora's box is going to open wide.
Here's the thing. There's a great, by the way, Joe Schmo says I'm the 69th like. Nice. If everybody in here could give us a like and a subscribe, we'd appreciate it. Subscribe to Damon's channel, subscribe to the Krug Show, and hit like. If you hit like, more people find the show in the algorithm. If everybody takes 1 minute and just hits like, we'll have quite a few more people in here. And then, of course, hit subscribe over at Damon's Place or here on the Krug Show, either spot. And every time we go live, you'll get an alert that we're going live.
Hit notify.
What's that?
Hit notify. That notify button.
There you go. Make sure you click that bell, that notification bell, and you'll be alerted every time we go live. And that being said, now I forgot what I was going to get into. But
Joe Schmo with his 69th like. We need more than 69 likes. Get it out there, folks. Hit that like button.
Yeah, hit the like and subscribe. I was just going to say that baseball is in a real weird spot right now. And it's like this is their golden goose. So what do they do? And everybody else is going to be watching this with such intent. And the fact that this is in the second largest market in the country, makes it so that, you know what, you can't bury it. It's like there's too many people in LA, too many media people. Wait till the Dodgers get back to America.
Wait till the Dodgers get back to this. All this happened, and they're over in South Korea. Once they land at LAX, the knives are going to be out for this story because the first one to get to the bottom of it is going to get an awful lot of attention. This is a global story, so it's big, and to deny it being big is to have your head in the sand.